Recorded live from a previously unfinished attic in downtown Monroe, this is Drawing Bigger Circles, where we dig into what's going on behind the scenes and out in the streets of our city, Monroe, North Carolina. My name is Stephen Stegall, and I'm the chairperson of Change for Monroe. We're a grassroots organization that seeks to connect neighbors to neighbors through political engagement, civic education, and a myriad of community service opportunities. We're going to take a few minutes each week to keep you lovely citizens of Monroe updated on the community happenings. But we'll also be using this podcast platform to cover local political scene, highlight community events, discuss community resources, as well as chat with local business owners about their experiences in downtown Monroe. With me, as always, is my witty yet cantankerous producer, Kevin Daniels.
Hello. I'm the reason that we don't have a camera.
Hey, that's not true. I'm also not good on screen. So we're going to kick off this inaugural podcast by discussing one of the hot topic issues in Monroe right now, which is House Bill 3, and the really just the partisanship that has recently engulfed our local political scene because of that. Kevin, what exactly is House Bill 3, bud?
House Bill 3 was a bill that was making its way through the General Assembly that was changing the way political races were run in different counties and different cities. If people don't know, the General Assembly can pick how elections are done separately and from county to county and city to city. And a lot of counties don't have control over how that's run.
Right. So right now, when you want to be a candidate for any political office, what does that look like?
So at the county level, everyone has to fall into a party or get a percentage of the registered voters have to sign a petition.
Right.
And these petitions are not Google forms that you can email. You have to go door to door. They're very specific forms. It's damn near impossible to get an unaffiliated person on the ballot in a partisan race.
Mm-hmm.
In Monroe, we've always had a nonpartisan race for mayor and city council. People just walk in, they vote for the person that they like best. More than likely, they were out in the parking lot chatting with them beforehand, right, because it's not a huge election.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as HB3 got discovered by...
Like Mark Watson was the first one to know about it.
Mark Watson accidentally stumbled upon HB3, and he let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. Immediately, folks in Monroe were all riled up about this bill. Why do you think that was, Stephen?
Well, I mean, it just all boils down to our mayor. And by the way, just tangentially, I never call him mayor. It's always Robert Burns or, Coin Flip or Burnsy or, just some other kind of like pejorative.
Or Coin Flippy Dippy.
Yeah, Coin Flippy Dippy is good. I like that. Yeah. We're going to keep that one.
That's going to be a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to get Julian on that one. And so, again, I never refer to him publicly as mayor and one reason is because he explicitly states on one of his own podcasts that he's not obligated to be the mayor for all citizens because all citizens did not vote for him. And I just think that's abhorrent. So I oblige him with that and choose to not refer to him as my mayor. So allegedly, quote unquote, allegedly, the mayor, Burnsy Flippy Dippy, pulled some strings with his kind of new buddies that he's making. I refer to them more like co-conspirators or financiers in Raleigh. So he had this added to HB3. I think last minute. I mean, it was like June 11th when everybody I think found out about it. There was no input from the city council. No, he didn't talk to the city manager about how this would affect Monroe. He didn't talk to the city attorneys. He didn't even give any opportunity for public comment or anything like that.
So what yes. I'm hearing here is Coin Flippy Dippy,
yep,
who has the intelligence of a jar of mayonnaise.
Sure. Man,
came up with this plan all by himself.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think he did. But the real issue, I think, more than anything, is whoever told him to do this, he did this unilaterally, as you mentioned. The town council,
Mr. Transparency,
Mayor Transparency, Mayor Small T-shirts. He did not even like consult with his fellow city council. He just did this, and they got pretty upset about it. They called a special session just to talk about it as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And during a special meeting, as a matter of fact, Dotson was asked plainly if he knew anything about it. He said no. So we'll see if that ever comes out and any kind of FOIA requests. Unaffiliated voters make up a large percentage of people in this city. And by the way, a little trivia for you. Did you know that our last mayor, Marion Holloway, was unaffiliated?
I did not, but the next time you say a little trivia, I expect a little time to answer.
Okay, sorry, I should have asked you in the form of a question next time, sir.
That's how it happens. Right. Question, then answer. So the mayor have done all this for naught, just to screw himself and hopefully lose in a primary against an actual conservative Republican.
That would be, just setting his own trap. That would be awesome.
There are two things I want in this world: for the mayor to buy T-shirts that fit him correctly, and for him to lose in a primary that he forced upon the city of Monroe unilaterally.
I have seen him in public so many times. I think I know the shape of his nipples now. So,
I think that's going to be one of the words banned from this podcast in the future. Yeah. No more nipple talk.
So do we know how many signatures somebody has to collect?
I believe it's pi. I believe it's 314.
Because it's
1.5% of registered voters.
There you go.
And in 2023, I think we had around 21,000 registered voters, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
So it'll be not an impossible feat,
right?
But just another example of a politician trying to choose their voters instead of voters choosing their leaders.
Perfect way to put it. I mean, I was thinking it was like, I think I have shared with like news organizations that it was blatant voter suppression and candidate suppression for that matter too. I mean, it just plain and simple. That's just the way I saw it.
If you're ever wondering why Stephen always gets interviewed by the news, you just have to take one look at this beard.
I'm in the right places at the right time.
It's the beard. It stands out.
Is that right?
They always want to talk to the guy with the beard. He's got wisdom.
Mr. Beard, can you answer these questions, please? So we talked about the facts. Let's talk about opinions. I am not explicitly opposed to partisan elections. If you want to, expressly declare your party affiliation and take on the mantle of the party's platform, I mean, you're more than welcome to do that. Honestly, I don't think it really tells you a whole lot about a person's inner self just by putting a D and R by your name. I mean, basically the existence of the acronym RHINO or DINO, just immediately, counteracts that notion.
What does RHINO and DINO mean, and why do they use it?
Sure. Republican in name only is just DINO is Democrat in name only, is just a pejorative that we throw at people who don't necessarily walk the party line. So again, these people say that they want these partisan elections so that we know our candidates and know who we're voting for. But they themselves use these acronyms to point out the fact that their own people in their own party are not living up to the standards that their party is setting for.
And just in case the mayor is listening to this, could you please define pejorative for him?
Oh, it's an insult, sir. Yeah, like we always do to you, you giant potato.
You absolute potato. I found that, too, that Michelle Ball was attacking Julie Thompson for being against this bill.
Right. Yeah.
And Julie Thompson, to me, is like picture perfect conservative Republican. When she's voting and when she's talking the issues, she sticks to the facts, the rule of law, and she takes it. And, to hear her being called a rhino, I realized two things: that Michelle should not be wearing big, puffy blue dresses, and that maybe she doesn't know what a rhino is, or a Republican for that matter.
Oh yeah, she definitely. I mean, I've told her so much on Facebook. She doesn't understand. I don't think she understands what a conservative is. I mean, quite frankly, the party's platforms shift a lot anyway. So, I mean, trying to define a Democrat or Republican down and say this is what these people are on any given day is just an impossible task.
It seems strange to me that when they use these terms, conservative, Republican, Democrat, et cetera, that the council seems to be voting 5-2 against Burns and Dotson. So they're the five people who are working for Monroe seem to understand what it means to be a local politician helping the people of Monroe.
I mean, they're doing what's best for Monroe, which is fighting, these assholes. So, what's the, what about you? What's the like the most frustrating part about all this in your eyes? I mean, we may have covered this a bit, but
again, the mayor working unilaterally behind the scenes with someone smarter than him to basically fuck over an entire city seems a little shady. Not completely surprising, but at the end of the day, we have an election coming up in 5 months that he just pushed back another year.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
that in and of itself should be grounds for removal.
Yeah.
If he acted unilaterally
Yep.
without the consent of the city, without public input, without anyone else, he absolutely should be removed for this.
I agree, and it's not like we don't have the methods to do it. And so I have up to this point, for the most part, agreed with a lot of what the council has done. I would strongly suggest that they, take one for the team, more or less, and do what's best for the city in this, and really just make sure that this guy can't do any more damage to us by removing him. So that's my suggestion. Obviously, this will all play out in elections, but honestly, getting that guy out of office it's Change from Monroe's primary objective. And if it happens in this way, I will take that gift horse.
We can just become a great volleyball team.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things, and I know it kind of seems funny because right now we're talking about excluding the mayor. We really, really need him to be excluded from our city's government. But you have brought up the phrase drawing bigger circles as far as like a main inspiration for Change from Monroe.
Well, so much so that I named the podcast after that. And, so just so you know, like we built Change from Monroe to be a multi-partisan organization. And I choose that word multi-partisan because I don't really necessarily like the bipartisan. I like to be more inclusive than that. And so I like to, personally, I'm an unaffiliated voter. I believe you are as well.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's why I want to go with multi-partisan. We really we're trying to build community by concentrating on our agreements and not necessarily accentuating our differences, which is, exactly the opposite thing of what Burns and, Michelle Ball and all those folks trying to do. I mean, they're really trying to find the most, vulnerable people in our society and really just kind of, drive a wedge between us and them. And we're just not going to go for that. So I often really just say that, we're here to lay bricks and not throw them. And to be clear, we initially formed around the idea of fighting against Mayor Cornflip. And all the, did I say cornflip?
You said cornflip.
Okay, well, another T-shirt for you.
Well, now I want corn chips.
Right. So we did rally around the idea of fighting against Cornflip and all the hate groups that he brings into town to make our city council meetings unbearable. But we have a certain set of ideals and morals that we're just not going to compromise with, and those people exemplify that. Which is, we're just not going to compromise with bigots and assholes. We stand on individual human rights, and we will always do that. We will always look out for those.
It's my contention that I believe if we were to sit here and take a poll of every single voter and citizen in Monroe, that we would actually agree on most issues.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where the drawing bigger circles comes in.
Because I think that if we can get 90% on board with potholes, stop signs, and lower taxes,
yes,
and maybe shut the fuck up about what I'm wearing under my dress, that we could have a better city.
I really just think she wants to look under your dress.
Well, who don't?
Yeah, and of course. That's the main idea. Is drawing bigger circles came from, it's an idea that I totally lifted from Pauli Murray. She was a civil rights era lawyer, amongst a lot of other things. Please, if you don't know who that person is, it's a travesty that more people don't know who that person is. Please just look them up and just thank me later. To paraphrase what she said, it was like, when someone tries to draw a small circle around me to exclude me, I will draw a bigger circle to include them. And it's just an act of defiance. And so when these people try to come into our city and draw circles around the most vulnerable people, we're going to draw bigger circles to include more people. And again, that's a very hard task because just like I said, we're not going to compromise our morals to to basically try to appease bigots. But we also need to try and include as many people as we possibly can in order to make ourselves less vulnerable to people like this who want to come in our city and demagogue around situations like this. So that really what I'm trying to do is include people who have already kind of excluded themselves by not showing up to vote.
I like that because people do. I've been out at the polls and people show up and they don't know one candidate from the other. They don't know one issue from the other. They really just don't know how much their daily life is affected by the mayor.
Well, yeah. What was if anybody who's been around us enough, they know, hopefully they know these two numbers, but 17% showed up to vote during that municipal election, got him elected, and 83% just didn't bother. So those are the people that we're targeting.
Hey, do you know, if you live in the city of Monroe, there is an election every year. Show up at your polling place the first Tuesday after the first Monday of every November, and they are going to hand you a ballot. I promise you.
Right. So we're going to try and reach out to the public here. If you've got thoughts or stories about HB3, or if these changes could possibly impact you personally and you want to bitch about that a little bit, we'd love to hear from you. We're happy to keep you anonymous, but if you write to our email addresses, which are Change for Monroe. What is my email address, Kevin?
Well, we decided to be kind of clever.
Yes.
And it's Stephen@changeformonroe.com.
There you go. And you are?
Kevin@changeformonroe.com.
Imagine that. Let's see. How did I forget that?
So names are tough.
So, yeah. And like I say, but if you write an email there, if you would prefer to stay anonymous, like I said, we're great. But we reserve the right to read your email and make fun of it if we need to. And that goes for just about any other topic as well. We want to be a platform for a lot of different topics. And if you've got ideas for podcasts, things like that, guests, great.
So this was our first podcast, and you can hear that it was our first podcast. We're going to keep doing this, and it's not always going to be talking about the political nature. We do want to keep you informed of what's happening, but Stephen likes to play in the dirt and grow things, so he's going to want to talk about his plants eventually, as I found every plant owner does now.
Of course.
I didn't know that was such a thing.
We're annoying.
Yeah.
We really are.
Really are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to compare you to any other hobby. But yes, so we are going to be opening up the airwaves to anyone else who wants to talk about life in Monroe, what's going on, favorite businesses, and stuff like that. Additionally, we have a Facebook group that is private because a lot of folks want to share their thoughts without drawing the ire of a vengeful mayor who goes on rants out of nowhere. What's it called? Like Mayor's Minutes, where he just starts whining about everyone who doesn't like him, coin flippy dippy.
Yep. So I'll save you the torture of having to do that. I'll listen to those so that you don't have to.
And it's very, very kind of Stephen to do that. Hopefully, one of these days, we just got to get him a lot of Pepto-Bismol, and then Stephen will be able to listen to the podcast and refute pretty much everything the mayor says as kind of made up bullshit. Like I mentioned, we have a Facebook group that's private. If you want to come and find us and join us, and in there, we just talk about like the social events that we're doing, the great civic-minded things that we're doing. We've done a few things so far, like helping out the food pantries. We built a ramp for an elderly woman who needed to get up and down. We've donated clothes. We've donated supplies. We've donated food. I mean, we're just all over the fucking place.
We're going to start doing a landscaping crew as well. So that's in the works. So if you got a weed eater and you know how to use it.
And if you're from the north, if you have a weed whacker.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We have to include those people as well.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know we have a website?
And we have a website. It's called changeformonroe.com. We really didn't stray from the formula on this.
Nail on the head there.
Yeah. And if you go to changeformonroe.com, you'll again find out more information. You'll learn how to contact us. And We are taking donations, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but we have an election coming up. HB3 was in fact passed as we were talking about this. So we will have an election next November in 2026. The mayor has weaseled himself into another year of fucking us over.
Yeah.
So we are going to be raising money to combat him with as much as we can. Billboards, flyers, skywriting, terror jumpers, maybe even training armies of ants to spell out buck ferns in the middle of the street. And we do sell T-shirts.
Absolutely. And if you donate a certain amount, we'll send you one of those, right?
Yes. Yeah. That amount is $35.
Yeah, $35.
Because it is a fundraising event, and we do that.
Yes, right. So,
all right, Stephen, what do you got for us in closing?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening to this first episode. Again, we're going to, this is going to be kind of a multifaceted thing. There's going to be a lot of different ways that we try to reach out to the community, but this is just one of them. It's really just trying to keep you guys informed about things that are going on. So I just need you guys to remember that like change starts local. So that's the overall message.
Did you turn it on yet? Is there a little green light on the front?